Welcome, everyone. I am so incredibly thrilled to have you here for this explainer. Today, we are embarking on a really exciting journey. We're going to dive into this fascinating pipeline of skills, looking at exactly how you go from mastering your own spoken English to successfully broadcasting that knowledge out to the entire world as an educational media creator. Let's just dive right in.
So, the big overarching question we're tackling today is exactly this. How do you go from being a language learner to a content creator? It's a transition that requires a major shift in your mindset. We're going to map out the exact actionable steps for transforming yourself from a student who absorbs information into a professional educational producer who shares that knowledge with a global audience.
Here is our quick roadmap for the explainer today. We'll cover mastering English fluency, the power of shadowing, structuring an English lesson, nailing your intro video, scripting for learning, and finally, adding pod-safe music.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Mastering English Fluency. Let's start with your primary instrument, which is, of course, your voice. Now, there's this concept that I absolutely love. To speak effortless English, you literally have to take your face to the gym. It's a brilliant metaphor, really, because right now, all the muscles and articulators in your face move in a way that is perfectly tailored to your native language. Speaking effortlessly like a native English speaker means you actually have to physically loosen up those facial muscles to build completely new muscle memory.
Think about the difference between overpronouncing and just relaxing. The overpronounced approach relies on really high tension, forcing your lips wide to hit certain vowels, which just creates this unnatural effort. But if you watch native speakers, their articulation is actually incredibly relaxed. It's all about subtle movements and simplified shapes. Take the American flap T, for example. Native speakers use this quick, easy bounce of the tongue off the roof of the mouth for phrases like, I got it. If you try to say, I got it, with high tension, it just sounds stilted. Relaxing your face and allowing that effortless flow, that is the absolute secret to sounding natural.
Moving right along to Section 2, the power of shadowing.
So, once you've physically loosened up your face, how do you actively build confidence in your speech? Well, shadowing is an absolute game changer here. It means listening to a native speaker and immediately repeating what they say. But here's the catch. You aren't just reading the words. You are copying their exact rhythm, their tone, and their speed. You literally have to feel the energy of the speaker. It's not just about what is being said, it's about exactly how it's being said.
If you want to jumpstart this, try a 30-day fluency challenge. You need to speak English out loud daily and actively listen and repeat. But I really want you to notice the core rules right in the middle there. First, you have to stop translating in your head. Honestly, it only slows you down. And most importantly, please don't worry about making mistakes. Mistakes are literally just proof that you are practicing. Trust me, native speakers make them all the time.
All right, on to Section 3, Structuring an English Lesson. Now that you've got the voice down, it's time for you to conduct the orchestra. Notice how a well-crafted, ideal 60-minute lesson breaks down. It's definitely not just some random collection of activities. You start with 5 to 10 minutes of warm-up for activation, then 15 to 20 minutes introducing a new concept. From there, you shift into guided practice for accuracy, followed by communicative production, focusing on authentic fluency, and then you wrap up with a quick 5-minute review. This structure is so powerful because it safely guides your students from the psychological transition of getting into English mode, all the way to using the language authentically and confidently.
Let's zoom in on that very first step for a second, the warm-up. Using engaging resources really highlights just how critical those first 5 to 10 minutes are. You definitely don't want to walk in and just say, okay, everyone, turn to page 65. Instead, use engaging discussion questions. Throw out some what-if scenarios, or ask about their likes and dislikes. This immediately snaps students into English mode and sets a really positive, communicative mood for the entire rest of the hour.
Next up, Section 4, Nailing your intro video.
So you know how to structure an amazing lesson, but how do you actually capture your teaching presence on camera to attract students in the first place? Creating the perfect online intro video basically boils down to 3 secrets. Step 1, write a bullet point script. Do not write out every single word or you're going to sound super robotic. And remember the golden rule here. Make the script 50% about you and 50% about how you can help the student. Step 2, lighting is everything. Pros recommend setting up 2 lights in front of you at the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock positions. And step 3, if you really want to stand out from the crowd, add subtitles. Yes, it's a bit of extra work, but students, especially beginners, will deeply, deeply appreciate it.
And above all else, and I mean this for sure, look directly into the camera lens. It's such a beautifully simple rule, but it is forgotten all the time. People naturally tend to look at their own face on the monitor or down at their notes. But looking right into the lens is the only way to build a genuine eye-to-eye connection with your digital audience.
Section 5. Scripting for Learning.
As you transition from making simple intro videos to full-blown educational media, writing a learning script is kind of like learning to drive a manual transmission after years of driving an automatic. To pull this off, you need to learn what the industry calls storyboardese. This is the specialized language we use to communicate instructional design, actor directions, and production notes. It's essentially the vital bridge that connects the theoretical world of educational design with the practical, hands-on reality of production.
Another absolutely crucial metric for scripting is the number 135. When you're writing, try to target 135 words per minute. Using this metric helps you accurately gauge your script's true length when it's actually spoken out loud. And why does this matter so much? Because pacing is everything. If you try to cram 200 words into a single minute, you are going to completely overwhelm the learner with an information dump. 135 words per minute keeps the learning experience perfectly paced.
Which brings us to one of the most brilliant literary quotes of all time, and it applies perfectly to educational media. Anton Chekhov famously said, "Don't tell me the moon is shining, show me the glint of light on broken glass." This perfectly captures the ultimate rule of production. Show, don't tell. When you write your scripts, you must include visual screen directions. Don't just rely on your voice to teach the concept, use the visual power of the screen to actually demonstrate it.
Finally, Section 6. Adding pod-safe music.
For the final touch on your educational media, you need a soundtrack, right? Something that elevates the production without triggering those dreaded copyright strikes. You absolutely cannot just throw your favorite pop song in the background. Record companies literally have teams of lawyers waiting to take down your content. So what are your safe options? Well, you have 4 main avenues for pod-safe music. You can use Creative Commons, which usually just asks you to credit the artist. There's royalty-free music, where you pay a one-time fee or a subscription. You can dig into the public domain. In the US, any track published in 1926 or earlier is totally free to use. Or you can try the wildly innovative option of AI music generators, where you just type in a prompt and the AI creates a completely custom, copyright-free track just for you. But please, listen to me closely here. We really need to debunk some incredibly dangerous internet copyright myths, side by side with the actual legal reality. So many people think, oh, it's fine if I don't monetize it, or if I use less than 10 seconds, it's fair use, or even if I just put the artist's name in the description, I'm safe. The legal reality is starkly different, folks. Copyright law applies regardless of your monetization status, regardless of how short the track is, and giving attribution absolutely does not exempt you from the law if you didn't have the rights in the first place. Always, always stick to pod-safe options to protect the creations you've worked so hard on.
And that brings us to the end of our journey today. We've gone from relaxing your articulation and harnessing the power of shadowing, all the way to structuring a full 60-minute lesson, framing the perfect intro video, writing in storyboardese, and safely adding a soundtrack to your work. You've got the tools now, you have the voice, the lesson plan, and the script. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to chew on. What will you create today? Get out there and start creating. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.